Reiner pleading not guilty on charges he murdered his parents in their home back in December. L.A. District Attorney Nathan Hochman.
The case is on track. We have provided the bulk of discovery to defense counsel, and we are now waiting for the coroner's report. When that is provided to the district attorney's office, it will in turn be provided to defense counsel.
Hochman also says Reiner could face the death penalty. After rising to their highest level in 6 months, factory orders fell back into negative territory in December. Here's ABC's Jim Ryan.
Despite a bump in November, new orders for manufactured goods in December decreased 0.7%, nearly $4.5 billion. Factory orders are considered an indicator of manufacturing activity, future production, and overall economic expansion. The decline in that number, along with confusion over the future of tariffs on imported goods, had Wall Street in retreat.
Another factor roiling markets, artificial intelligence. IBM shares are down sharply today after the AI company Anthropic announced its large language models now have the ability to write in a coding language called COBOL. That language is used in data processing, one of IBM's core businesses. Toyota's NASCAR team has signed a 13-year-old to a new racing driver contract. Keelan Harvick is the son of Kevin Harvick, who won the Daytona 500 nearly a quarter century ago. Mike Dubusky, ABC.
This is the News Radio KONP Noon Report.
Todd Clark from the KONP News Center. Here's a look at what's happening on this Monday, February 23rd. Clallam County Sheriff's Office actively investigating a homicide after the remains of 73-year-old Port Angeles resident Danny Kendrick were discovered Saturday morning on Deer Park Road. Preliminary evidence indicates Kendrick died as a result of homicidal violence, though the official cause and manner of death are pending an autopsy. Deputies were dispatched about 7:20 Saturday morning to the 6300 block of Deer Park Road following the reports of the suspicious death. Deputies remained on the scene throughout the weekend, the investigation now involving multiple agencies. And authorities are asking for the public to help. They are specifically seeking surveillance footage showing any people or vehicles traveling in the area between 10:30 p.m. Friday and 7 a.m. on Saturday. Areas of interest include the 7000 block of Deer Park Road north to Highway 101, Township Line Road between Deer Park and O'Brien Road from Township Line down to Highway 101. Tips can be submitted by calling the Clallam County Sheriff's Office non-emergency dispatch line or online through the Sheriff's Office website. Now with a look at some other things that happened over the past few days, here's Sandy Keys with his weekend wrap-up.
Saturday, we had a preview of March weather as 40-mile-per-hour winds left the roadways littered with branches, flagpoles waving torn flags, the Sequim Elks Club sign blown down along Port Williams Road, and an apartment sign knocked partly down near Highway 101 and Mount Pleasant Road. Down for sure, but not quite gone with the wind. It shall rise again. Other ill winds cause trouble, the wind that it takes to deliver threats of personal injury. Those at an Oxenford Road address Friday morning, then Eagle Crest Road at Clallam Bay, and Friday afternoon at Lawrence Forest Road. And there were 2 harassments, one in Port Angeles, one in Sequim. Even worse, 5 of our neighbors were the victims of assault. In Sequim, there were 3, one in Forks and one in Port Angeles, that at 6:30 Saturday evening right downtown on Railroad Avenue. 6 area vehicle accidents were recorded over the weekend. 4 of those were on Friday, and 3 of those were in Port Angeles, and 2 of those happened on Lincoln Street. Traffic stops numbered 6 Friday. There were 12 more Saturday. The record shows no building checks Friday, but appearances can be deceiving in the first 3 hours after midnight, which is officially Saturday morning, but still Friday night to most of us. Police checked 23 buildings. Now, checking for alcohol and drug violations, officers were busy early in the morning, early in the weekend. A driving under the influence arrest was made on Cinders Road, 5:56 Friday morning, and a minor in possession arrest was also made early in the morning in Forks. Evidently, the early bird not only gets the worm, it also gets the shaft. Sandy Keys, KONP Local News.
End-of-life decisions are hard. Be it pre-planning or sudden loss, you need to have an advocate in your corner, which is why I wholeheartedly recommend Drennan & Ford Funeral Home and Crematory in Port Angeles, the only locally owned funeral home and crematory in Clallam County. Their expertise ensures a smooth process so you can focus on healing and being with your loved ones. Their help through the darkest time in my life will forever stay with me. Call 360-457-1210.
Come see Price Ford when shopping for your next vehicle. We have the new Ford Maverick and Ranger, along with the highly capable compact crossover Ford Bronco Sport. Looking for pre-owned? We have the largest selection in the area. Let us help you find the perfect vehicle for your lifestyle and budget. Visit Price Ford next to Walmart in Port Angeles or priceford.com and become part of the Price family.
What is the Armstrong and Getty Show?
Well, I'll tell you what it's not. The old style of talk radio where you're always screaming our side's always right and your side's always wrong, or taking a bunch of long, dull calls. No, we take a fast-paced look at the events of the day, the issues, the controversies, with a skeptical eye and a somewhat humorous tongue.
We try to be funny. We'll leave that up to you to determine whether or not you think it's funny. It's the Armstrong and Getty Show. Catch us weekdays from 9 to noon on News Radio KONP.
In other news, Amazon has received its final permit from the city of Port Angeles to build a warehouse and distribution facility on about 25.5 acres on the northwest corner of West Edgewood Drive and South Critchfield Road. City Community and Economic Development Manager Shannon Cartmel told KONP this past week the city completed the review of the revised permit applications on January 20th. She said that after all remaining steps for the applicant, such as final payment and acceptance, were completed, the permit was issued to the applicant on January 23rd. Now, as part of its approval, the city placed 14 mitigation conditions on the permit. They include dust control during construction, securing a stormwater permit from Ecology, and widening a section of Edgewood Drive with 8-foot shoulders, 12-foot lanes, turn lanes, and a sidewalk. We reached out to an Amazon spokesperson to see if they could tell us anything about a timeline for commencing and completing construction. They have not returned our calls. A previous statement from the company, though, said they had planned a 58,000 square foot facility would take 8 months to build and would employ about 70 people. The North Olympic Healthcare Network has selected Terry Sabella as its next chief executive officer after a nationwide search. Sabella will begin her role May 18th, succeeding Mike Maxwell, who announced plans to retire last year after leading the organization since its creation as a community health center back in 2015. Sabella currently serves as CEO of HealthPoint, a federally qualified health center in Texas. Outgoing CEO Michael Maxwell said Sabella's experience positions the organization well for the challenges in healthcare ahead. The board at Olympic Medical Center set to interview 7 candidates this week as it works to fill a vacant commissioner seat created by the death of longtime board member John Nutter late last year. Board President Phil Giantoli announced at an OMC board meeting last week the interviews with 7 candidates will take place during a special meeting this Wednesday at 1 p.m.
We have a set list of questions which we've given those candidates to prepare for the interview. We are anticipating following the interviews, which are, I think, run all the way till 4 o'clock or so, we're going to recuse ourselves and we're going to talk about the candidates in general. We'll make no decisions in private. We will come back in public and nominate and vote on various candidates.
Nutter, who had served on the hospital board since 2009, died last December after a sudden illness, left the unexpired term that state law requires the remaining commissioners fill through a public appointment process. This is News Radio KONP.
If it's time for new asphalt paving for your dirt, gravel, or damaged driveway, now's the time to call Lakeside Industries for a free estimate. They've been serving this community since 1982 with city, county, and highway projects, of course. But did you know that they do residential and commercial grading, paving, and stormwater too? Well, they're scheduling spring and summer jobs right now, and no job is too small. Just call Lakeside Industries, 452-7803, or lakesideindustries.com.
This afternoon on the Todd Ortloff Show, let's get a little spring fever. We'll talk gardening with master gardeners Judy English, Jeanette Stair-Green, and Audreen Williams.
Join us at 1 o'clock Monday through Thursday for the Todd Ortloff Show on KONP. Information to keep you engaged in your community with the people and organizations who keep it running. Sponsored by Dan Shappy, Farmers Insurance.
The Ramsey Show.
Need advice on a conversation with his family so that we're not supporting his mom and 4 siblings.
There's not a conversation you're going to have with his family that's going to go well. Decide what you're going to send and send it. And if they don't want to be a part of your life, it stinks, I know. But you cannot make his family self-reliant.
If the relationship is hinging on a paycheck, then there was no relationship.
Catch The Ramsey Show from 2 to 4 Monday through Friday on your local information station, News Radio KONP.
Here's your News Radio KONP forecast, brought to you by All Weather Heating and Cooling. Slight chance of rain this afternoon. Otherwise, mainly cloudy skies. High of 47. Northwest winds around 5 miles per hour. Slight chance of rain tonight. Lows around 35. Mainly cloudy. Chance for rain becoming mixed precipitation tomorrow. Daytime highs approaching 44. Mainly cloudy skies expected. 47 Wednesday with rain likely. 48 Thursday. Chance for showers continues. Looking at the long range, 45 Friday, 42 Saturday, and 46 on Sunday. That's a look at your forecast. I'm meteorologist Paul Trombley. Right now, it's 46 degrees.
NBA taking notice. Good morning. I'm Jay Reynolds. Golden State was shorthanded, still beat Denver. Warriors a 33-16 advantage in the fourth quarter, and they win 128-117. Nikola Jokic, 35-point triple-double in the loss. Thunder hold off the Cavaliers, 121-113. Celtics beat the Lakers, 111-89 in Los Angeles on the day the Lakers unveil a statue for former coach Pat Riley. Magic 111-109 over the Clippers. Knicks hand the Bulls a 9th straight loss. Mavs beat the Pacers and snap a 10-game losing streak. Olympics closing yesterday with the U.S. capturing gold in men's hockey, 2-1 over Canada. Jack Hughes with the golden goal.
Overtime, anything can happen. I mean, they have very skilled players. We have very skilled players. It's just up and down the rink, you know, kind of like a little grudge match, like who's going to make the first mistake.
U.S. finishing with a total of 33 medals. The Americans finishing second to Norway in both total medals and gold medals. College, top-ranked UConn, 43-point win over Providence, which had more turnovers than points. 38 points, 39 turnovers. Also on the women's side, number 2 UCLA clinching the Big Ten outright, 20-point win over Wisconsin. Third-ranked South Carolina, 37-point win over Ole Miss. Also in the SEC, Texas and LSU with 50-point wins. Number 5 Vanderbilt gets past Kentucky, 81-79 to remain unbeaten at home. Couple of top 10 teams losing yesterday. Number 6 Michigan falls to 13th-ranked Iowa, 62-44, while Clemson rallies at home to beat 9th-ranked Duke.
The streak is over! And the Blue Devils are unbeaten no more in the ACC!
Saw it on ESPN2. Duke has its 17-game win streak and 22-game conference win streak snapped. Virginia goes on the road, wins at Louisville 74-72, a game that Louisville was favored by 14.5. The NFL Competition Committee says probably won't have an attempt to ban the tush push this year.
In local sports, the Port Angeles Rough Riders girls basketball team, 17-6 on the season, has earned the number 12 seed in the Sweet 16 regional round. The Riders will face number 13 seed Renton, which comes in at 21-3. Date, time, and location of that regional matchup expected to be announced today. We'll have a full scouting report on Renton tomorrow as Port Angeles preps for its postseason test. Squim also headed to the Sweet 16. These Wolves girls are the number 14 seed. They'll take on number 11 seed Nathan Hale. Port Angeles also turned in a strong showing at the State Boys Swimming and Diving Championships this weekend. The Rough Riders placed 4th overall. And head coach Sally Cole was named the 2A Coach of the Year. We'll have a full breakdown of all those results tomorrow. At Peninsula College, the Pirate men picked up a critical 94-88 win over Olympic Saturday to stay right in the Northern Conference playoff hunt. With Everett falling to Edmonds, the Pirates now sit at 6-7 in conference play and now are a game ahead of the 5-8 Trojans for the 4th and final NWAC playoff spot. The Race Titans Wednesday night. The Trojans are expected to be favored when they host Shoreline, while the Pirates face a tough challenge at home against Skagit Valley. Peninsula will be the underdog, but momentum is on the Pirates' side right now. Point guard Patrick Odingo, who made the long trip from Perth, Australia to play for Peninsula, led the Pirates against Olympic with 29 points and 7 rebounds, and his play suggests he's not ready for the season to end anytime soon. Sam Tekesti, the hero of Peninsula's last-second win over Everett, added 17 points this weekend. Titus Driver chipped in 14, while former Port Angeles Rough Rider Gus Hallberg finished with 13. On the women's side, Peninsula continues to roll. The Pirate ladies improved to 14-0 in Northern Conference play and 21-4 overall with a 75-56 win over Olympic. Former Neah Bay Red Devil Rihanna Moss led the way with 18 points. Kimberly Brown added 14. McKenna Patrick scored 13. Alexis Smith posted a double-double with 13 points and 13 rebounds. Now the Pirates hosting Skagit Valley on sophomore night Wednesday. The men tip off at 5, the women at 7, and both those games will be broadcast live here on KONP.
This is Ed from Leeds Farm Supply and Equipment Sales. Our family has trucked hay to feed the hungry animals in Western Washington for 4 generations. In that time, we have built a growing legacy of serving the needs of our customers, and we've never stopped. In 2014, we ventured into the equipment world by becoming a dealer and service provider for Mahindra Tractors. Since then, we have partnered with quality brands such as Bad Boy, Aaron's Gravely, LS Tractor, Husqvarna, Snake River Trailers, and now Wacker Noyson Construction Equipment. We have a 3-bay shop where we not only service the brands we sell, but we also work on most major brands including Kubota, John Deere, and New Holland. We carry a wide variety of parts, filters, belts, and fluids. We have a fully stocked hydraulic shop and can build hoses for most machines while you wait. Chainsaw or weed eater needs some TLC, we work on small engines too. We even offer welding and fabrication services. We have been earning the Peninsula's trust for over 25 years with your animal's care. We look forward to earning your trust with your equipment's care too.
News Radio KONP Business.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Fed Governor Chris Waller may no longer back a rate cut if the next jobs report is strong. Waller says it may be appropriate to keep rates steady if labor market data for February indicate downward risks to the labor market have diminished. He says the key to setting appropriate policy will be his view of the labor market, assuming underlying inflation continues to signal the U.S. is close to the 2% goal. A new stuffed crust pizza, a new partnership with DoorDash, and a new advertising jingle appear to be doing the trick for Domino's. Pizza chains often do well when people look for more cost-effective ways to feed their families, but Domino's is outpacing rivals, reporting a nearly 4% jump in U.S. comparable sales last quarter. And OpenAI CEO Sam Altman thinks many big companies are unfairly blaming their recent layoffs on AI. He says most layoffs are not from artificial intelligence, and a survey by Challenger Gray and Christmas backs him up. AI accounted for only about 1% of layoffs in 2025. Erica Herskowitz, Bloomberg Radio.
Experience comfort at Angelus Furniture with IMG Comfort Furniture. Receive 10% off all orders and products in all sizes, colors, and models. Now through March 16th, take 10% off beautiful pieces like IMG Peak, Devani, Chelsea and Verona models with all recliners, Power Plus, and swivel gliding. 10% off IMG Comfort Furniture, including quick ship and special order. Through March 16th, only at Angelus Furniture, 1113 East 1st Street.
As leaves fall and temperatures drop, that means cold and flu season is here. But don't worry, the best defense is a good offense, and we have 2 ways to keep you healthy. First, regular hand washing can help keep cold and flu viruses at bay. Second, protect yourself and your loved ones by getting your flu shot. It's safe, it's effective, and it's your best bet against the flu. So, wash those hands, get a flu vaccine, and let's beat the cold and flu together. Brought to you by Olympic Medical Center.
KONP News Times 1222. Steph Curry's animated sports movie GOAT was the greatest of all time, or at least it was at the box office this past weekend. ABC's Mike Dubusky has more.
You're gonna change the game.
Sony Pictures' animated film GOAT took the #1 spot at the box office, earning another $17 million in its second weekend. Emerald Fennell's Wuthering Heights brought in another $14 million domestically to finish in second place for the weekend. The unconventional adaptation of the classic novel is doing well overseas, so far earning $151 million globally. And the Christian film I Can Only Imagine 2 rounded out the top 3. Mike Dubusky, ABC News.
Lung cancer kills more Americans than any other cancer, but a quick, low-dose CT scan can catch it early. And the guidelines from the U.S. Preventative Services Task Force are clear. If you're between 50 and 80 and you smoke now or have quit in the last 15 years, you should be screened every year. Unfortunately, as a new study in JAMA reveals, less than 1 in 5 people who qualify for lung cancer screening actually get it. Only 8% of smokers and former smokers in their early 50s are getting tested, compared to about 23% of those who meet the guidelines in their 70s. Researchers say if every eligible person were screened, up to 3 times more lung cancer deaths could be prevented. That's tens of thousands of lives. The study's authors call for greater awareness and better access. Check with your doctor to see if you are one of the people who should have a regular lung cancer check, especially if you are a smoker or a former smoker. With this Medical Minute, I'm Christiane Cordero.
Well, it is tax season, and that means scammers are using every trick in the book to steal from you. Whether they use AI technology or good old-fashioned paper check fraud, they are out there. David Perez, the CEO of Tax Maverick, has some advice on how to avoid getting scammed. First, if you're self-filing, make sure it is a valid tax prep site and protect yourself from a breach.
There's so many websites that proclaim to file taxes. There's people who are now doing taxes from maybe their kitchen table or helping their friends and their family, and a lot of that becomes data breaches.
Also, watch out for ghost preparers. They tend to lure people in with offers of high tax returns, but instead file false or incorrect claims. And he says never sign a blank or partially completed return.
From ABC News Tech Trends, Google's new Pixel 10a sports a $500 price tag and the company's fan-favorite camera software. So what's the problem exactly?
The Pixel 10a is barely an upgrade over the Pixel 9a.
Android Authority's C. Scott Brown says the list of differences between this year's mid-range Pixel and last year's mid-range Pixel is pretty short.
The colors have changed. The front glass is a lot stronger. The charging speeds are slightly faster.
It comes ahead of Apple's scheduled event next month, where the company is expected to release, among other things, a mid-range iPhone called the 17e.
So Google knows it needs to have its own brand new mid-range phone to compete with this future 17e.
But Brown says Google faced limited options amid a growing shortage of crucial components like RAM.
The problem Google faced is that it needs to keep the phone cheap. And right now, the things that make phones are not cheap.
With Tech Trends, I'm Mike Dubosky, ABC News.
A better life with Dr. Sanjay Gupta.
As the name might suggest, Nordic walking is not really a big thing here in the United States. But in some European countries, it is all the rage. People out and about with walking sticks or hiking poles because they provide support, enhance stability, and take some of the load off your joints. Look, I really didn't know that Nordic walking poles had built-in gloves for your hands instead of the regular hoops found on hiking poles. That allows you to leverage the poles without gripping them. The tips are also angled because they hit the ground at different points in your stride, helping you to push backwards instead of pushing down. Getting started's pretty easy, usually comes naturally, because basically you're engaging in a normal walking movement. The major bonus is you're going to burn a lot more calories since you are also utilizing your upper body as well. I'm Dr. Sanjay Gupta, helping you live a better life.
The second I see that Chick-fil-A text in the group chat, I'm throwing my shoes on and running out the door. Hey, I'm Layla.
And I'm Kaylin.
And a little thing we love about the Chick-fil-A chicken biscuit is
how it feels like an easygoing morning.
The chicken adds the most flavor. It's juicy and seasoned.
The biscuit is just very light and airy and fluffy, just like a cloud.
I also love to put jelly on mine so it's sweet and savory.
It's a good start to the day.
Mornings are a little bit brighter with the Chick-fil-A chicken biscuit and Simply Orange Juice. Available on the Chick-fil-A app. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
Did you know GoodRx can help you save on medication, manage prescriptions, and get trusted health information? If you're one of the millions living with a heart condition, check GoodRx for an easier, more affordable way to manage your health. GoodRx offers common heart medications for under $30. Just search for your prescription, find the best price, then show your pharmacist the GoodRx coupon. And it works whether you have insurance or not. To start saving and better manage your heart health, download the free app or visit GoodRx.com today. GoodRx is not insurance but can be used instead of insurance, including Medicare and other federal and state-funded programs.
Hello, I'm Jerry Stewart, and this is One Moment in America.
It was Catherine Bates who wrote the song America the Beautiful. We all know it, but why do we sing it? I'll tell you why after this important message.
Hello, Jerry Stewart here for Liberty Village. Are you looking for a way to bring your family together and to explore America's founding values without even leaving home? Liberty Village now sends free monthly founding values, family lessons, powerful lessons, straight to your inbox. Each month, your family will receive a new story with fun activities and enjoy hands-on projects inspired by real moments in American history, like George Washington's daring crossing of the Delaware to win a crucial battle. Sign up today at libertyvillage.org/education. That's libertyvillage.org/education. Bring history home with your family. See you there.
In the summer of 1893, teacher-lecturer Catherine Bates found herself on top of Pikes Peak, looking out upon the unbelievable beauty of America, and the words began to flow. Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountains' majesty above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. Why do we sing this song? Because it's so very true. We have been blessed with the most beautiful nation in the world. Today, take a moment and thank God for America. I'm Jerry Stewart, and that was One Moment in America.
Do you know when your septic system was last inspected? Clallam County Environmental Health keeps those records and can tell you. Pumping your septic and complete septic inspections by licensed professionals are two very different things. State law requires inspections every 1 to 3 years, depending on the system you have. Get more information about your septic system and inspection requirements by calling Clallam County Environmental Health 360-417-2258 or by logging on to clallam.net/septic.
This afternoon on the Todd Ortloff Show, let's get a little spring fever. We'll talk gardening with master gardeners Judy English, Jeanette Stair-Green, and Audreen Williams.
Join us at 1 o'clock Monday through Thursday for the Todd Ortloff Show on KONP. Information to keep you engaged in your community with the people and organizations who keep it running. Sponsored by Dan Shappy, Farmers Insurance. I am a radio commercial. You can't see me, but that doesn't mean we can't have a one-on-one conversation. I can be intimate. I can be bold. I can be used to tell you about a one-day-only sale! Or about why my family trusts a particular person or product. You and I can chat daily or sometimes just on the weekend, but we never stop communicating. I may make you laugh. I can make you ponder. And sometimes I can bring just a hint of a tear to your eye. You'll find me lots of places, your car, your home, inside a store, on the beach. Where you won't find me is in a landfill, wrapped around fish, or at the bottom of a birdcage. I'm a radio commercial, and I could be yours.
To open a dialogue between you and your customers, call us today, 360-457-1450. Local radio, local listeners, professional marketing. News Radio KONP, Port Angeles, Squim.
Breaking news at Town Hall. I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. The Supreme Court has agreed to hear from oil and gas companies trying to block lawsuits seeking to hold the industry accountable for billions of dollars in damage allegedly tied to climate change.
Boulder, Colorado city and county officials say the lawsuit's about fairness and that taxpayers shouldn't be solely responsible for the costs of adapting to climate change. But Suncor Energy and ExxonMobil appealed after the case was allowed to proceed in state court. They argue the suit threatens one of the nation's most critical sectors and that since emissions are a national issue, the case belongs in federal court, where similar suits have been tossed out. The industry is facing dozens of lawsuits from state and local governments. The Trump administration has weighed in support of the companies, saying if Boulder wins, it means any locality could sue virtually anybody for contributions to climate change. Jennifer King, Washington.
The snowplows are out in force today as millions of Americans battle blizzard conditions in the Northeast. New York York City resident Vince Leasy was outside shoveling with his own snow shovel. No snow plow for him, but he says it's harder to do this time around because the snow is wetter and heavier than it was a few weeks ago.
I've been out here for a good half hour. Basically not so much to clean it, but just to get the bulk out. Did that last night. I think it pays off. That's my technique, and I know I'll be out here again, but it's got a not wide enough path for people to walk their dogs and to walk to wherever they're going today.
The National Weather Service says snow piles could get to be about 2 feet high, and with all the strong winds blowing around in some places, whiteout conditions would make travel very dangerous. A federal judge has permanently barred the release of a report by special counsel Jack Smith on his investigation into President Donald Trump's holding of classified documents at Mar-a-Lago. The U.S. District Judge granted a request from the administration. More from townhall.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell, definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. Do you feel stupid for buying a timeshare? Don't. It's not your fault. You were most likely told you could rent it, and it was a great financial investment. And the deal was available today only. If this happened to you, contact your resort or Wesley Financial Group for help today.
Call Wesley now for your free exit information kit. 800-242-3131. 800-242-3131.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ethos.com/term. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
The new and emerging world of online activity and searches has opened up a whole new chapter in privacy concerns, especially when law enforcement taps into all that data to help them track down suspects. Here's correspondent Julie Walker.
Criminal investigators hoping to develop suspects in difficult cases have been asking Google to reveal who searched for specific information online, seeking what's known as reverse keyboard warrants that critics warn threaten the privacy of innocent people. Unlike traditional search warrants that target a known suspect or location, keyboard warrants work backward by identifying internet addresses where searches were made in a certain window of time for particular terms, such as a street address where a crime occurred or a phrase like pipe bomb. Police have used the method to investigate a series of bombings in Texas and a fatal arson in Colorado. I'm Julie Walker.
You'll find breaking news and analysis at townhall.com. From Washington, I'm Bob Agnew. It now appears California state government did indeed pay protesters more than $100 million. Here's Ken Lorman.
An independent report alleges that the state funneled $115 million in taxpayer funds to the Coalition for Humane Immigration Rights and other groups engaged in organizing protest and advancing left-wing causes. The funding reportedly supported voter outreach, policy advocacy, and programs aimed at immigration rights and activism.
That is Ken Lorman reporting. The coalition engaged in government efforts during the 2020 election and claimed credit for securing $175 million in COVID relief for illegal immigrants. Nick Reiner has pleaded not guilty in the killing of his parents, Rob Reiner and Michelle Singer Reiner. Nick Reiner's attorney entered that plea to 2 counts of first-degree murder today in Los Angeles. More from Town Hall.
This is the News Radio KONP Noon Report.
Todd Ortloff from the KONP News Center. Here's a look at what's happening on this Monday, February 23rd. Clallam County Sheriff's Office actively investigating a homicide after the remains of 73-year-old Port Angeles resident Danny Kendrick were discovered Saturday morning on Deer Park Road. Preliminary evidence indicates Kendrick died as a result of homicidal violence, though the official cause and manner of death are pending an autopsy. Deputies were dispatched about 7:20 Saturday morning to the 6300 block of Deer Park Road following the reports of the suspicious death. Deputies remained on the scene throughout the weekend, the investigation now involving multiple agencies. And authorities are asking for the public to help. They are specifically seeking surveillance footage showing any people or vehicles traveling in the area between 10:30 p.m. Friday and 7 a.m. on Saturday. Areas of interest include the 7,000 block of Deer Park Road north to Highway 101, Township Line Road between Deer Park and O'Brien Road from Township Line down to Highway 101. Tips can be submitted by calling the Clallam County Sheriff's Office non-emergency dispatch line or online through the Sheriff's Office website. Now with a look at some other things that happened over the past few days, here's Sandy Keys with his weekend wrap-up.
Saturday, we had a preview of March weather as 40-mile-per-hour winds left the roadways littered with branches, flagpoles waving torn flags, the Sequim Elks Club sign blown down along Port Williams Road, and an apartment sign knocked partly down near Highway 101 and Mount Pleasant Road. Down for sure, but not quite gone with the wind. It shall rise again. Other ill winds cause trouble. The wind that it takes to deliver threats of personal injury. Those at an Oxenford Road address Friday morning, then Eagle Crest Road at Clallam Bay, and Friday afternoon at Lawrence Forest Road. And there were 2 harassments, one in Port Angeles, one in Sequim. Even worse, 5 of our neighbors were the victims of assault. In Sequim, there were 3, one in Forks and one in Port Angeles, that at 6:30 Saturday evening right downtown on Railroad Avenue. 6 area vehicle accidents were recorded over the weekend. 4 of those were on Friday, and 3 of those were in Port Angeles, and 2 of those happened on Lincoln Street. Traffic stops numbered 6 Friday. There were 12 more Saturday. The record shows no building checks Friday, but appearances can be deceiving in the first 3 hours after midnight, which is officially Saturday morning, but still Friday night to most of us. Police checked 23 buildings. Now, checking for alcohol and drug violations, officers were busy early in the morning, early in the weekend. A driving under the influence arrest was made on Cinders Road, 5:56 Friday morning, and a minor in possession arrest was also made early in the morning in Forks. Evidently, the early bird not only gets the worm, it also gets the shaft. Sandy Keys, KONP Local News.
Caring for a loved one takes heart and help. Dungeness Court Memory Care is there for you. Our adult day stay program offers a safe, nurturing environment with meals, engaging activities, caregiving support, and on-site nursing care. Day stay is available 7 days a week from 30 minutes to 10 hours with no minimum commitment for only $25 an hour. Care for your loved one. Peace of mind for you. Call 360-582-9309 to schedule a free assessment today.
Swain's has everything, and as we know, that always includes a fantastic sale. The President's Day sale, going on now, is filled with savings even the smallest budgets will love. Check out a must-have in this muddy, wet weather, a Northwest boot scrubber. It's only $16.87. All women's silver jeans are 20% off, and all women's and kids' gloves are 30% off. Stay warm with savings on men's thermal hood zip sweatshirts, all only $14.87 each. These deals and so many more at Swain's General Store.
Are you thinking about a new roof, siding, or windows for your home? Give Tri-State a call. Tri-State installs GAF roofing products, James Hardy siding, and Pella replacement windows. And right now, Tri-State is offering huge savings. The first step is a free estimate. Call 360-208-2222 or visit tristate.pro.
Tri-State Roofing, we got you covered.
In other news, Amazon has received its final permit from the city of Port Angeles to build a warehouse and distribution facility on about 25.5 acres on the northwest corner of West Edgewood Drive and South Critchfield Road. City Community and Economic Development Manager Shannon Cartmel told KONP this past week the city completed the review of the revised permit applications on January 20th. She said that after all remaining steps for the applicant, such as final payment and acceptance, were completed, the permit was issued to the applicant on January 23rd. Now, as part of its approval, the city placed 14 mitigation conditions on the permit. They include dust control during construction, securing a stormwater permit from Ecology, and widening a section of Edgewood Drive with 8-foot shoulders, 12-foot lanes, turn lanes, and a sidewalk. We reached out to an Amazon spokesperson to see if they could tell us anything about a timeline for commencing and completing construction. They have not returned our calls. A previous statement from the company, though, said they had planned a 58,000 square foot facility would take 8 months to build and would employ about 70 people. The North Olympic Healthcare Network has selected Terry Sabella as its next chief executive officer after a nationwide search. Sabella will begin her role May 18th, succeeding Mike Maxwell, who announced plans to retire last year after leading the organization since its creation as a community health center back in 2015. Sabella currently serves as CEO of HealthPoint, a federally qualified health center in Texas. Outgoing CEO Michael Maxwell said Sabella's experience positions the organization well for the challenges in healthcare ahead. The board at Olympic Medical Center set to interview 7 candidates this week as it works to fill a vacant commissioner seat created by the death of longtime board member John Nutter late last year. Board President Phil Giantoli announced at an OMC board meeting last week the interviews with 7 candidates will take place during a special meeting this Wednesday at 1 p.m.
We have a set list of questions which we've given those candidates to prepare for the interview. We are anticipating at following the interviews, which are, I think, run all the way till 4 o'clock or so, we're going to recuse ourselves and we're going to talk about the candidates in general. We'll make no decisions in private. We will come back in public and nominate and vote on various candidates.
Nutter, who had served on the hospital board since 2009, died last December after a sudden illness, left the unexpired term that state law requires the remaining commissioners fill through a public appointment process. This is News Radio KONP.
Welcome to Volunteer Spotlight, sponsored by Jim Hagwood at PA Realty. This is Alan Barnard, and this Volunteer Spotlight shines on the Pet Posse, a local group of volunteers who find lost pets and return them to their owners. The Pet Posse has reunited over 6,000 pets since beginning in November of 2014. A nonprofit, every dollar donated goes to reunite pets at no charge. Facebook is invaluable in getting the word out for our lost pets. They provide inpatient care for hospital and veterans' pets left alone and have an ambulance to get pets to appointments or emergency assistance. They also work with Clallam County with disaster preparedness for pets. They need more volunteers, so please call them at 360-775-5154. That's 360-775-5154. It's said that services and rent we pay for our space on Earth. That's why we present this Volunteer Spotlight, sponsored by Jim Hagwood, a PA Realty.
Hi, it's Alicia with Ridgeline Home Care Cooperative, where we're more than a workplace, we're a family. We're worker-owned, worker-ran, and worker-profited, and proud to be named Emerging Business of the Year by our community. If you're a caregiver looking for a place where you're valued, or a family seeking care you can trust, you belong with us. Join our team or let us care for your loved one. Call 360-504-3837 today. Ridgeline Home Care Cooperative. Compassionate care powered by the community.
Here's your News Radio KONP forecast, brought to you by All Weather Heating and Cooling. Slight chance of rain this afternoon, otherwise mainly cloudy skies. High of 47. Northwest winds around 5 miles per hour. Slight chance of rain tonight, lows around 35, mainly cloudy. Chance for rain becoming mixed precipitation tomorrow. Daytime highs approaching 44, mainly cloudy skies expected. 47 Wednesday with rain likely. 48 Thursday, chance for showers continues. Looking at the long range, 45 Friday, 42 Saturday, and 46 on Sunday. That's a look at your forecast. I'm meteorologist Paul Trombley. Right now, it's 46 degrees.
Robert Workman's take on sports next.
The 25th Winter Olympic Games wrapped up on Sunday in Milan and Cortina. The final gold medal of the Games awarded in men's hockey, where Team USA edged Canada 2-1 in overtime on a golden goal by Jack Hughes.
A lot of talk for us was breaking the drought. We thought this was the group that could do it.
That drought 46 years since the Miracle on Ice team at Lake Placid in 1980. Connor Hellebuck made 41 saves.
This is a personal dream, but also, a lot of people back home are very proud of us.
Team USA finished with 33 medals, 12 of them gold. That's the most ever for the U.S. at a Winter Games. Norway had 41 medals, 18 gold. They have now won the most medals at each of the last 4 Winter Games. With the Olympic flames extinguished in Italy, the torch was passed to France, which hosts the 2030 Games in Nice and the Alps, which is nice. NBA Sunday, the Thunder bumped the Cavaliers 121-113 to end Cleveland's 7-game win streak. OKC nailed 21 three-pointers. Sixers slammed the Timberwolves 135-108. Philly also hit 21 shots from long distance. Tyrese Maxey had 39 points. LaMelo Ball made 10 three-balls and had 37 points to lead the Hornets over the Wizards. Magic held off the Clippers, 36 for Desmond Bane. Celtics licked the Lakers. Jaylen Brown had 32 points. Peyton Pritchard added 30 off the bench. Warriors dunked the Nuggets despite another triple-double from Nikola Jokic. Knicks sent the Bulls to their 9th straight loss. Wins for the Blazers, Hawks, Raptors, and Mavericks. College hoops expect a shakeup when the new polls come out today. On Saturday, top-ranked Michigan lost to number 3 Duke, while number 2 Houston fell at home to 4th-ranked Arizona. That's Monday Sports.
Don't you just love February? This is Dale from Wilder Auto, and we would love to earn your business, and what a great month for it. We're loaded with lots of great trade-ins, and if you're in the market for a car, truck, SUV, or van, we have many great options for you. When you add to that the acres of new vehicles with some of the best brands on the planet and the Wilder Advantage, well, why would you go anywhere else? I hope you'll have it in your heart to stop by and check us out or 24/7 at wilderauto.com.
This afternoon on the Todd Ortloff Show, let's get a little spring fever. We'll talk gardening with master gardeners Judy English, Jeanette Stair-Green, and Audreen Williams.
Join us at 1 o'clock Monday through Thursday for the Todd Ortloff Show on KONP. Information to keep you engaged in your community with the people and organizations who keep it running. Sponsored by Dan Shappy, Farmers Insurance.
We've watched him sprout. We've seen the teen vine years. And now he's
Tomato. Thomas Tomato.
fully ripened, perfectly round, thriving in his Jungle Jane's greenhouse.
I like my hydroponic nutrients shaken, not stirred.
From first sprout to full harvest, Jungle Jane's has greenhouses, hydroponic systems, and everything you need to grow greatness.
I'd like to thank the sun, the water, and Jungle Jane's.
On the roundabout by Costco in Squim.
News Radio KONP Business.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. With other ways to pay, PayPal is finding itself in a rut. Shares have fallen around 46% over the last 12 months. And now the company is attracting takeover interest from potential buyers. PayPal has fielded meetings with banks amid unsolicited interest from suitors, with at least one large rival looking at the whole company and others interested in certain PayPal assets. Merck is splitting its main pharmaceutical unit in two as it prepares for the expiration of the patent for its best-selling drug. The drug maker will separate its human health division into an oncology unit that will house its cancer medications, including blockbuster immunotherapy Keytruda, and another for its non-cancer therapies. Keytruda is set to lose patent protection in the U.S. in 2028, exposing it to lower-cost competition. On Wall Street today, stocks are sharply lower as tariff uncertainty rattles investors. Over the weekend, President Trump announced he's raising his worldwide tariffs to 15%. European leaders warn that could put trade deals with the U.S. at risk. Erica Herskowitz, Bloomberg Radio.
Guess what's cooking at Leeds Farm Supply? Propane, and lots of it. And at just $2.49 a gallon, it's a hot deal. Got cylinders? Leeds does. From 20 pounds to 100 pounds, and soon from 1 pound to a massive 420-pound capacity. Refillable, exchangeable, whatever you need. So whether you're grilling or heating, swing by Leeds, where propane and low prices are always in stock. Leeds Farm Supply, fueling your next big thing.
Buying locally doesn't always mean paying more. At McCrory Carpet One, they're a part of a cooperative that bands together over 1,000 family businesses just like them to form the largest floor buying group in America. Together, they buy over $7 billion in flooring. That means not only do you get the best prices and quality installation, but you help support local jobs and families. McCrory Carpet One has been proudly serving our community for over 60 years. Always priced right, always done right. McCrory Carpet
Radio KONP, traffic and roads.
Let's head up to Clallam Transit Dispatch Center now. That's where Steve's got an eye on things this noon hour on the roads for us. Good afternoon, Steve.
Hi there. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Yeah, we're doing pretty good on the commute. If you are out and about in both either the Sequim or the Port Angeles area right now, it's a little bit busy out there. Traffic is moving along pretty smoothly, though. Really no issues. We had I'm not sure if it's still there, stalled vehicle on the eastbound lanes out there by Del Guzzi that was causing some issues. I think they're going to have to tow that one out of there. So just be aware of that. If you're getting slowed down through that right-hand lane, that's the cause of it. If you're on the highway between the two cities, no real issues right now. Traffic is moving along pretty smoothly. If you're headed out any further, we're good with the Hood Canal Bridge. No scheduled marine openings so far this afternoon. Excuse me. State Ferry is also running on time today. Just a reminder also, on your way to Bainbridge, the Agate Pass Bridge, they are working on that, and that is significant delays. You're looking probably about 40 minutes to get across that bridge to get to the ferry, so just be aware of that. That will cause you some delays. If you're headed out to the west end, we're doing good all the way out to the Forks area. No real issues out there, just kind of light to moderate traffic and at the speed limit. So everybody take care, be safe out there. This is Steve reporting live from Clallam Transit for KONP.
Thank you, Steve. Your weather forecast, cloudy the rest of the day today. Maybe a little rain shower activity this afternoon, mid to upper 40s. Cloudy tonight, slight chance of rain this evening, lows in the 30s. Partly sunny tomorrow, and a slight chance of rain, maybe a snowflake mixed in tomorrow. No accumulation expected, and highs will be in the 40s for your Tuesday. Right now across the North Olympic Peninsula, down in the east end, 47 in Port Townsend. Out west, Forks checking in with 48. Sequim's got 48 as well, and out at Fairchild Airport here in Port Angeles, it's now 46 degrees. Well, if winter's got you down, hang in there. We're about a month away from the start of spring, and a survey finds that a third of adults see that as a good thing, since spring is their favorite season. Almost just as many, about 30%, happiest in a few months later when the favorite season, summer, starts. And 27% like fall the best. As for winter, only 6% of adults surveyed say they like that one. Still sticking with the New Year's resolution to lose weight, here's a trick to eating less pizza. When you make or order your next pizza, have it cut into at least twice as many pieces, from 8 to 16 per se, and ideally eat it from a plate that's placed on a large table. Do so, and if the study's findings hold true, you might consume almost half as much pizza as you usually would. All right.
ABC Entertainment News.
It was a quiet weekend at the box office. GOAT unseated Wuthering Heights in a close race for number one. The Sony Pictures animated sports comedy brought in $17 million, compared to the R-rated period pieces $14.2 million. Singer-songwriter Barry Manilow has canceled more show dates for his upcoming tour. The 82-year-old Grammy winner shared on his Instagram that he's unable to sing more than 3 songs in a row following surgery for early-stage lung cancer. Manilow had already rescheduled his January tour dates. He says he hopes to return to the stage in time for his Vegas shows. Ryan Coogler made BAFTA history this weekend as the first black winner of the Original Screenplay Award for Sinners. It is one of the 13 nominations for the horror film, the most ever for a film directed by a black filmmaker. Sinners is also up for a record 16 Oscar nominations.
Last week, Tesla celebrated a milestone. Its first production Cybercabs, the ones sold to the public, rolled off the assembly line. Meanwhile, pre-production models are being tested in Austin, Texas, Fremont, California, and some cold weather testing in Buffalo, New York. And these tests are frightening. I'm Kim Commando for NetSuite. AI is everywhere, and companies using it have the advantage. If your company's revenues exceed 7 figures, get their free guide, Demystifying AI, at netsuite.com/Kim. Waymo uses modified Jaguar electric SUVs, so a human driver can easily get in and take over. But Tesla robo-taxis have no steering wheel, no brake pedals, and no accelerators. Accidents and incidents are 4 times as high as human drivers. An incident means property damage only. An accident means injuries. Both are crashes. As a former Tesla owner, I assure you that its autopilot system does not work, and it's definitely not ready for taxis. Sign up for my free newsletter at getkim.com. The other day, I had a chance to sit down with Craig Dubinsky, the CEO of Happy Products. He's built some of the biggest brands in personal care. So when a guy like that tells me a piece of software saved his company, I listen. Here's what he told me.
So you mentioned that NetSuite saved your bacon. What happened there?
Well, our last business, Hello, which it's an oral care company. Hello grew and became the fastest growing oral care brand in North America. We were growing so fast that we literally broke another well-known financial platform software. So we made the switch to NetSuite and we migrated our entire business off of one platform onto NetSuite, which was very scary. And we thought this is going to be this impossible task. And we did it over a weekend and it was flawless and seamless and we never looked back. It's the most capable platform we've seen. It's great.
If your revenues are at least 7 figures, get NetSuite's free business guide, Demystifying AI, right now at netsuite.com/Kim. The guide is free to you at netsuite.com/Kim. That's netsuite.com/Kim.
I'm John Tesh. Coming up, I'll share the surprising signs of a heart attack that 65% of victims have, but most don't notice. It's next in today's Intelligence for Your Life Minute.
Hi, I'm Maria, salon owner. You know the jingle. Now discover the facts about Ozempic, a GLP-1. There's only one FDA-approved Ozempic made by Novo Nordisk. Learn about the real thing.
Talk to your healthcare professional today. Call 1-833-OZEMPIC or visit Ozempic.com to view the medication guide and to learn more about Ozempic. Semaglutide injection 0.5, 1, and 2 milligrams.
So did you know that only 1 in 3 people who have a heart attack suffer the classic signs where they gasp for air and grab their chest? The majority of heart attack victims have symptoms so subtle they delay medical treatment by 90 minutes on average. That could make the difference between life and death. So what are the heart attack symptoms we need to be looking for? First, your whole body breaks out in a sweat. If there's no obvious reason for the sweat, pay attention because when the body first perceives a heart attack, it may react with your skin turning pale and breaking out into a sweat, just like if you're under external stress. And then you may also feel nauseous. That's the body's parasympathetic nervous system kicking in, which could mean a heart attack. What do you do if you experience these symptoms? First, call 911. Then, try chewing an uncoated aspirin. Keep one of those handy. Chewing helps get the medicine working faster than swallowing. I'm John Tesh with today's Intelligence for Your Life Minute.
Do you have a few lumps and bumps that need attention? You know, those things like skin lesions, cysts, or even that pesky hernia? Our experienced general surgeons at Olympic Medical Center can handle them. We offer convenient, expert care right here at home for your major and minor surgical needs. Get those lumps and bumps taken care of quickly and expertly. Minor procedures can often happen in the comfort of the office. Learn more at olympicmedical.org/surgery.
The North Olympic Peninsula's news station, News Radio KONP Port Angeles Squim, AM 1450, FM 101.7 and 101.3. A Radio
From ABC
Pacific
News.
station.
I'm Mike Dubusky. A massive winter storm barreling across the Northeast in the last 24 hours, dumping more than 2 feet of snow and prompting the first blizzard warning for New York City in nearly a decade. Winds up to 80 miles an hour in some areas and heavy snow pummeling New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Massachusetts. ABC Chief Meteorologist Ginger Z.
Freehold, New Jersey, more than 22 inches already. Islip, New York, at 20 inches so far. Delaware, 1.5 feet. New London, Connecticut, closing in on 1.5 feet. But the blizzard means the wind, right? And it's that combination that makes visibility nearly impossible.
Snow also piling up on Long Island. Bruce Tria with ABC affiliate WRIV is in Riverhead.
Riverhead at eastern Long Island looks like a Courier and Ives card. However, if you live out here, you're not going anywhere. We've got about 18 inches of snow in Riverhead, and in Quogue on the South Shore, they've got 20 inches of snow.
House Speaker Mike Johnson says he does not believe it's time to call for Texas GOP Representative Tony Gonzalez's resignation. Gonzalez denies he engaged in an extramarital affair with an aide who authorities say died by suicide last September. In Mexico, President Claudia Sheinbaum is urging calm after cartel members started fires across multiple states, blocking roadways.
The chaotic fallout after a Mexican military operation took out the leader of the most powerful cartel in the country. Officials say drug kingpin Nemesio Oseguera Cervantes, known as El Mencho, the head of the Jalisco New Generation cartel, was among multiple cartel members killed during Sunday's operation.
ABC's Whit Johnson. Mexican authorities say 70 cartel members have been taken taken into custody. 25 of them have been killed in standoffs with police. U.S. and Iranian authorities are set to meet this Thursday to discuss a possible deal on Iran's nuclear program. You're listening to ABC News.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You sort through tons of resumes and you get too many so-so applicants. You're just waiting for someone to match your role perfectly. Well, now, there's a place where you can meet them fast. ZipRecruiter.
Need to hire right away. Start your search for strong candidates. The right fit awaits. Build your team. Build it sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try it for free. And you're on your way to meeting your match. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. So try it now. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Try it free.
Investigators are trying to piece together what motivated a man to drive from North Carolina to President Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate in Florida yesterday, breaching the perimeter with a shotgun and a gas canister. Authorities say Austin Tucker Martin was shot and killed by police. More from ABC News Chief Justice Correspondent Pierre Thomas.
One official I spoke to said there was a note of some kind found in the vehicle associated with the incident down in Florida. There's a reference to Epstein, but not specifically the name, something written on a note that was found.
Martin's cousin also said the family is supportive of President Trump and claimed that his cousin didn't talk about politics. The BBC is under fire after broadcasting an unedited version of the BAFTA Awards, which were aired on a 2-hour delay yesterday. During the broadcast, an audience member with Tourette's shouted offensive language at presenters on stage. The outbursts came from Tourette's activist John Davidson.
Davidson is the inspiration for the movie I Swear, which was nominated for 6 awards and took home the leading actor BAFTA. He was diagnosed with Tourette's syndrome at the age of 12. It's a neurological condition that can cause involuntary movements and vocal tics, sometimes involving outbursts of inappropriate language.
ABC Chief International Correspondent James Longman, the BBC says, we take full responsibility for putting our guests in a very difficult situation, and we apologize to all. I'm Mike Dubusky, ABC News.
As each season changes, one thing stays the same. Airport Garden Center is always here to help your yard and garden grow. Airport Garden Center opened for business in 1977 as a pet, plant, and feed store by Eldora and Floyd Matthews. The family-run operation continues with Mark and Betsy Matthews passionately managing the business to this day. Their family provides your family quality service, products, and expert advice for a fun, rewarding, pet and child-friendly shopping atmosphere. We love helping you plan next season by offering monthly special savings too. Go to airportgarden.biz for current specials and seasonal classes and events, or just stop on by our spacious indoor-outdoor garden center on Edgewood Drive in Port Angeles to chat with the experts. Airport Garden Center, planting knowledge, growing gardeners since 1977.
KONP News brought to you by RE/MAX Evergreen Real Estate. Outstanding agents, outstanding results. 457-6600. Authorities still investigating a homicide after the remains of 73-year-old Port Angeles resident Danny Kendrick were found Saturday morning at Deer Park Road. Konp County Sheriff's Office says preliminary evidence points to homicidal violence, though the official cause of death is pending an autopsy. Investigators now asking for anyone with surveillance video from the area between late Friday night and early Saturday morning along Deer Park Road, Township Line Road, and O'Brien Road. That would be helpful in the investigation. North Olympic Healthcare Network naming Terry Sabella its next CEO. She'll begin in May, succeeding longtime leader Michael Maxwell, who's retiring.
Here's your News Radio KONP forecast, brought to you by Olympic Game Farm. Cloudy skies with a few peaks of sun this afternoon with a slight chance of rain. Highs around 47, northwest winds around 5 miles per hour. Mainly cloudy skies again tonight, slight chance for rain, lows dip down to about 35. Chance for rain becoming mixed precipitation tomorrow. Daytime highs approaching 44, cloudy skies with a few peaks of sun. 47 Wednesday with rain likely. 48 Thursday, chance for showers continues. Looking further out, 45 Friday, 42 Saturday, and 46 on Sunday. That's a look at your forecast. I'm meteorologist Paul Trombley. Right now, 46.
It's the Todd Ortloff Show on News Radio KONP. Now, here's Todd.
And doggone it, we're going to feel like it's spring. I'm going to force it on you out there. That's my plan today, the first half of the show, as we welcome the Clallam County Master Gardeners, my new three amigos. I think I can go ahead and call you that now.
Hola.
Right? Can I do that? All right. Sure. Judy English, Jeanette Stair-Green, Andreen Williams are joining us again for the first half of the program to get into all sorts of things and get us to feeling a little bit closer to getting out there and playing in the dirt and all of that sort of stuff.
It's getting
Not that
very
far.
close.
Not that
very,
far out.
very close.
March is literally just around the corner. I can't believe it. We're in the final week of February. So here we go. Welcome, guys. Good to see you all.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
we're
So
going
happy to be here.
dive into it. We're going to go to Judy first because speaking of March, gardening
that's right.
opportunities are starting to spring up.
That's right.
Yeah.
Starting to spring up. And
Be
the
here all
very
week.
first thing we should all be doing is testing our soil so we know, mostly because you need to get that in now because it takes 2 or 3 weeks once you get it to them, and you can, them being Clallam Conservation District office. So it's not an immediate turnaround, 2 to 3 weeks. So get your soil sample in now.
So now take us through how we do that best for someone who's never done this before.
If you've never done it before, go online and look at clallamcd.org. And they have an illustration, they have words, they have times, places, costs,
And that's
all that.
CD as in the letter CD, not CD as in
Yes.
plants. I just
Very
want to
good
make sure
point.
nobody gets offline there. Yeah.
I like
Anyway, they
that.
got some
I like
guides
that.
there for how you do
Yes,
this, right?
they have
Okay.
guides of how you do it, and it's very simple. You end up just digging up dirt from various parts of your garden, throwing out the rocks and the grass and the debris, and then you need like a gallon bag. I think it is about 3/4 pounds. 3 pounds. That's a good way
Okay.
to look at it, because of all the different
That is
testing
a
they're
lot.
going to do. That's a lot, but your garden can spare it. It's worth doing.
Now, you mentioned you're going to get it from around your garden, but what if is it wise to do that, or is it wise to do sections and have those, because you might have a more acidic spot, you might have a more alkaline spot?
Right. They would treat each of those as a separate soil test,
Right.
so you would pay for each one. So if
Economically speaking, you could do
Economically
it
speaking,
all in one, but
yes,
there may be
but-
an advantage
and
to
I
doing
think-
it that way.
Yeah, I think
You can afford
that's a
it.
very good point, because some things need more acid, some things need less, and Jeanette will be talking about things that need more
Yeah.
acid. And so I think is a very good point. And typically what I have done is paid for extra soil tests because I want to know about what what the soil is where I'm planting certain crops.
What's the cost per test?
$35.
$35. Okay.
Yep.
So
3 weeks, $35. You take your soil in on either a first Monday or first Wednesday.
First Wednesday of the month or third Wednesday of the month.
Oh, thank you. First
I just
Wednesday
did
or third Wednesday.
Okay.
Yes. Nothing about Mondays in there.
But
Wednesday,
key
first
thing,
and third.
takes about 3 weeks to get these results back.
Yes,
so
it
if
will.
you're thinking about spring, it's like 3 weeks away, right?
It would be about 3 weeks away.
And just a little tip there, if you have mulch on your garden, be sure you remove that. Don't give them mulch to analyze.
Right.
You want pure dirt.
You
want your dirt.
Straight up
right?
soil.
Yeah,
yes,
soil.
just what has typically been there, or is typically there.
All right.
Okay, and then while they're doing your soil tests, you can be planting seeds indoors for the early crops, like
cool weather things.
Cool weather things. Thank you.
Yeah.
And that would be lettuces and spinaches and peas, potatoes, charge, things like that. So while you're waiting for your soil test to come back, those seeds can be inside, under lights, on a heating pad, starting to sprout and be getting closer to being ready to be put outside after you know what it is you need to put on your garden as an amendment prior to planting your new little starts. And that's what they're going to tell you when you do your soil test. What do you need in your soil that's not already there?
So this test is going to come back and tell me exactly what I would need.
Pretty much.
I mean, it gives
Yeah.
me a recipe, if you will.
It gives you
as
a
to-
recipe,
okay.
and they're very good there. They will go through the information with you. If it's something that you're a little uncomfortable with or need clarification, they're very accommodating.
On the submission, you actually tell them like what you're going to be
What you're
planting.
planting,
Like
right,
it'll be
okay.
vegetable gardens, or you're going to be planting blueberries or something like that, and they will modify the recommendations based on that.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yep. And also, in addition to getting those cool weather crops, you can, if you want to wait until you get your test results back and get your amendments on, you can plant those seeds directly in the garden. If you get a little bit too impatient, you can plant a few of them inside to get them started. But what you want to be doing soon is planting the warm weather seeds inside so that they pop up and are tall enough and big enough and strong enough, mature enough to be put out when the weather is warm enough. And not only it does what we want to think about it, not just as weather being warm enough with seed sprouting and plants being able to deal with it, the soil temperature.
Right.
So your soil should be crumbly, not mud ball
Right.
packed, right?
Yeah.
When you squeeze
When
it
you
in your
squeeze it,
hand,
it should
if
fall
it's
apart
hot,
again,
yeah,
right?
It should
Yeah.
fall apart, not a drip water
Yeah.
or stay in the shape of a baseball. And then the temperature, how crumbly it is, how dry it is, all important. I get so excited this time of year.
Who
So
doesn't?
what are the key? Go ahead. Yeah.
So I
Jeanette.
was just going to say, as far as deciding when you plant seeds indoors, is you kind of work backwards. Think about when that plant can actually survive in the garden, and I know that Judy is thinking tomatoes. You know, when can she put tomatoes in the garden, which is probably mid to late May.
Oh,
And then how long will it take a seed to get from being a seed to a plant big enough to plant out,
Right.
which is maybe 4 to 6 weeks?
At least.
At
Yeah.
least.
I
So
think because you can't put them out too soon, they have to be big enough. And you don't want to get those tomato seeds planted indoors too early because you don't want the plant
Yeah,
to
you're
be
going to get
really
leggy and
tall.
it's going to get out of hand.
Yeah, it's just more transplant shock on the plant when you put them in if they are too big.
So in planting seeds indoor, think about that. The cool weather things can go out sooner, so count back from when they can go into the ground.
Yep.
And a little fudge factor, a week or two more.
Okay.
Great
That's
idea.
a technical term. Isn't it? Yeah, you guys use.
So what
well
else
then.
should you be doing now?
Yeah, what
Prune
else?
and feed your roses. We've got so much to talk about today. Prune and feed your roses. And if you have lawn area, this is the time that you should be getting out there and dethatching it, get all that dried up dead grass out, aerate, rake it, overseed areas that need to be overseeded. Get it ready for the weather that's coming, the growing season.
And I want to ask the rose question. When we say prune, how drastic is that? Because some people have said down to the ground in some ways, right?
Some people say that. I tend to prune kind of on the heavy side because I think it's easier on the rose bush or the tree or whatever long term if you keep up with it every year and keep them in a little bit under control. So you're looking at me thinking about what does that mean? You don't ever want to do more than a third of any tree or bush at a time because it's too stressing on it, I think.
Okay.
And you want to cut off the water sprouts, those things that are going straight up in the air. Also, I think it's important on a tree that if it's got limbs that are just, if it's not a trailing tree, that their limbs are
That they're supposed to do that, right, yeah.
To droop down or point over or lean over. If it's not that kind of a plant, then you want to, so that they're more either level or going up rather than pointing towards the ground.
All right.
So,
but it's from what roses they tolerate
Yeah,
you getting on them, right?
Yeah, and if you don't, they get so combined, crossing
Right, yeah.
over. Yeah,
I have a number of them that at one point I inadvertently, and I mean that by a lawnmower, took them over and printed because it was winter and somebody went. It wasn't me. Somebody we had come in there and they went too close to the thing. And they're all gone. They loved it actually. I'm not saying you should do it, but I'm just saying they came back. Just
certainly
fine.
survived. Yes. Yes.
So anyway, maybe not the best pruning thing.
So,
Audrey, did you want to add
Audrey,
something to that?
Jeanette, what do you
I'm
think?
good.
You're
Okay.
good?
All right.
You did not a rose.
Are we all right
Don't
with that? Okay.
grow roses here.
All
Nope.
right. You're not a rosy. Jeanette's not very rosy. We knew that.
No, that's
she's rosy in her own way. All right. Well, then, since Jeanette's already there, let's talk about what she's going to do. This pruning of its own sense.
I love that
Yeah.
you've already talking about pruning because this is just a great time of year to be pruning a lot of things in your garden. It's the dormant season. Most of them have lost their leaves. You can see the structure, and healing actually after pruning is very good at this time of year. So we're going to be pruning our blueberries. We're going to be cleaning up our raspberry patch. We're going to be cleaning up our strawberry patch, and it's a good time to be pruning fruit trees as well.
Now, I have a question about that because of the winter that we've had. It hasn't been, terribly long stretches of cold. We've had a couple of little cold days.
Yes.
But people feeling maybe like, did my tree really go to sleep or not?
Well, I think this is...
And can I prune it? I mean, that's the next question.
Well, now that we've had this cold weather,
maybe
I think that we're going to be seeing some reacclimation to the cold weather and to go ahead and prune. There were a lot of blueberry bushes and fruit trees that are starting to bud out.
Mine included.
Absolutely,
I've got a couple that are starting to show, and I did a lot of pruning last year, so I'm just going to hold off for this year because they're ready to go.
Yeah, they're ready to go. Right.
Well, there's moderation in everything.
Yeah,
and you
right.
got to know why you're pruning and what needs to come off and that sort of thing. But I think it's an excellent question. Yes, I would say go ahead and continue on with your ideas to do some pruning.
I bring it up only because we have this discussion every year about is February kind of the magical end date for pruning, especially of a fruit tree.
And part of the reason there is once you prune, it does spur on new growth if the plant is no longer in the dormant season. Now, luckily, Mother Nature kind of did it for us.
Yeah.
Like probably nipped them in the bud as it was. They need to be pruned. I would go ahead and
do
prune
it now,
these
even
things.
if they've already kind of started to show because they've.
I would go ahead and prune.
All right.
Yep.
All right. And likewise with your blueberries, your raspberries, all the canes, okay? I mean, it's fine to be
I think,
pruning them now?
yes, now is the time to be pruning them, and I think it'd be fine. Blueberries are really hardy plants, as are raspberries, so I think we're just fine there. You just need to know what you need to know to prune them, and that's, again, just learn about the growth patterns of all of these plants and prune based on how they grow best and where they put their fruit on. And it's different for everything, and needless to say, we're happy to talk about that in detail, but I think at this level, we'll just kind of leave it at that.
Well, give us the formula on them. I'm looking at your notes. Raspberries, for example. You've got in here, help me know what I'm doing. I've inherited a raspberry patch, right? What do I do?
So raspberries, the plants are perennials and the crowns live for many, many years, but each cane that comes up lives for 2 years. The first year the cane comes up, it's mainly vegetative. Maybe at the very end of the summer puts on a little bit of berries. The second year, after the winter, the cane puts on lots and lots of fruit. This is pretty common for all cane berries. After that second year putting on fruit, the cane dies. It's nothing you did. The cane dies. And leaving it in the patch just crowds it, makes it difficult to harvest things, more disease occurs, that sort of thing. And so one of the things that folks need to be doing, if they haven't already done it back in the fall, is to go into their raspberries and their blackberries and remove the second year canes and cut them right off at the base.
And they'll be dry and dead. You'll know what they are, right?
They will very much look different. And in fact, raspberry canes, if you kind of just move them, they'll break off on their own. In the fall, it may be a little harder, but not really. They really look different. So yeah, that's one thing. You want to get in there, take out those dead canes. You want to thin them. You know, a lot of times we think, oh, more plant, more fruit, that's better. But if the plant can't get enough sunshine and there's not enough nutrients in the soil for all of that plant, it's not going to produce anymore. So thinning and going in and removing some of those canes. Again, it's kind of based on what sort of caneberry you're dealing with, but thinning it out is really good. Oftentimes during the winter, we've seen damage or disease cane. Those aren't going to do any good. Go ahead and just cut them out at the base.
All right. Now's the time to do it, though.
Now
Easier
is the
now
time
than
to,
later, right?
once the leaves start coming out and you're pulling these canes out of this new growth, you'll damage the new growth. So definitely get out, put on your boots and your slicker and your furry hat and get out there and prune.
Now, strawberries we all love around here. They are one of the earlier, they come out in earlier part of the season, so people kind of, get excited on the front end of growing time.
Yes.
Now's the time, though, to get the patch in shape.
Yeah. Strawberries, the plants last for 3, 4, 5 years, and as they overwinter, a lot of their leaves die. They may have some disease. Powdery mildew is one that we commonly see, and if you leave all of those dead leaves in there after the winter, it will just kind of be rife for more disease to spread to the plants that aren't diseased and to the fruits. So this is a great time just to go in there and clean out all those old seeds, old leaves, and if you have these runner plants that haven't rooted, get rid of them. If they don't root, they're still dragging off the mom, and so it's time to get rid of those runner
And you're suggesting plants should be 4 to 6 inches apart, thinned out.
That would be a
ideal.
good general rule.
Okay.
And Jeanette, if you've got a strawberry plant that you haven't done anything with because it was just sort of ornamental, but it really does produce strawberries, and it's huge now, do you just what do you do at this time of year?
One of the issues with strawberries plants, and they do get very large, and their crowns start dividing, multiple ones, which is kind of the lead into it's going to soon be too old to produce good quality fruit. So one of the things is to really take a look at that plant and how it produces in the coming year. It might be time to take it out and replace it. But if it is a big plant, they tend to grow up out of the soil. And so bringing more soil around the base of the plant is really a good idea.
And at any point, could you take that whole plant out, break it apart, and make it into a bunch of little plants?
You can do that. But you know what? The resulting plants have a few years on them. They're oftentimes diseased and have problems. And you can take them and separate them, but they'll never do as well as if you replace them.
Go ahead and replace them.
Yeah, it's not like when they throw runners and there's a new baby plant out here growing on its own. This is a different situation.
Well, and even the runner plants, they're clones of the mother plant. And if the mother plant has a virus or some kind of fungal disease, the babies will too. And so they'll only live so long. I did an experiment. One year I had the original plants, put out runners. I took some of those runners and planted them elsewhere. Then I took runners from those plants and planted them elsewhere. And the quality was never as good as the original mother plant. So yeah. The Beatles didn't get this one right. Strawberry fields are not forever, but they'll last 3 to 5 years, but then they start going downhill, and I encourage gardeners, your time is valuable.
Right. And it's disappointing to not have a beautiful strawberry when you think that's going to happen, and then it doesn't.
Now, one good news is that you can soon be doing some planting of these berry bushes, correct? And plants.
And this is back to when the ground starts to become workable, isn't too wet. This is the time to plant
in the ground.
all of those berry plants right now.
Okay.
Exciting.
All right. Let's go over to Audrine, because Audrine's going to give us some observations of the Northwest Flower and Garden Show. You partook.
It was just last week.
Yeah.
The reason I go is because I can't get into my garden. The ground is too wet. So I fly out of town.
And take it in somebody else's garden, right?
Absolutely. And the gardens are beautiful, and they're, of course, produced by landscapers, etc. And they're trying to sell their wares and their business. But my favorite thing about going to Seattle at this time of the year is, and to participate in the Northwest Flower and Garden festival in Seattle is the variety of classes that are offered to anyone who goes. So there's often several. Too bad some are at the same time or half an hour later, and it's terrible to walk off and go to another one. But the speakers are typically area experts. They write books. I have many of them. One of my favorites this time around was from both the gentleman who is the head honcho at Heronswood, and the other one is the president and CEO of Blodell. Both of these gardens people can go visit on their own, and they have been invited to. What's happening at Heronswood is really quite unique because the Indian tribe, and now I've just forgotten the name, they are coordinating an educational piece where they're trying to not reinvent, but just include some of those plants that they've had naturally but have somehow disappeared because of our land use. And they're also inviting the younger kids to come learn about these plants and how to, Camassia is one, or camas, common name is camas, how to grow it, and especially what part of it you can eat. And I just love that fact that they're trying to re-encourage their people, and actually all people who choose to do that. So, yeah, I've never eaten it, and I would like to try, but I have to grow it first.
Learn more about it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Another wonderful thing is the availability of very many vendors. And, yeah, you can spend a lot of money, but what I like best is there's always seed companies that will bring a lot of their seed packets, and I like saving on postage and the delivery charges, so I always go to them. There were a couple deep harvest seeds and wildflower farms. They are area businesses on Whidbey Island. What happens when an area business grows seeds and produces seeds and trials seeds, they're picking the best seeds, and they know that they grow well here.
That's right. Yeah.
And they're offering it to me as a consumer, and I'm happy to buy them. And I'm happy to encourage their businesses because they're protecting the diversity of seeds that work well for us.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, and we've talked about that in many times about you order these seeds from elsewhere, and yeah, they might grow, they might not. Some things don't quite jive here, even though they might say so.
Right.
Absolutely. And oftentimes what we have found is that I can buy the same seed, but it's grown in a different part of the United States. It might be the same, latitude? And yet, for some reason, they're not as flavorful as they used to be. And why is that? We're now learning that many seed companies will actually purchase seeds from very many different places. So you've got to just, it's a trial and error. Yeah. And I think it's just buying locally and encouraging our farmers locally who are trying to do the seed producing business for us to go ahead and help them out by purchasing from them. So.
All right, so long story short, Audrine's ready to get in her garden and plant some seeds that she got, it sounds like, at the garden show.
Actually, I'll farm my seeds out, especially for the ones that we will transplant into the Fifth Street Community Garden.
Okay, all right.
So, but I want to say, people are hearing, I missed the Northwest Garden Show. What am I going to do? Everybody needs to be aware is that we have a garden show coming up here.
Right.
Yes. The 26th annual Seroptimus Gala Garden Show is on March 21st and 22nd. And that is kind of our own little mini version of what goes on in Seattle. And it's just super fun. There's a lot of speakers. A lot of master gardeners will be there. Some keynote speakers. I heard rumors Cisco is going to be
there.
I
heard that too.
So, it's a really wonderful event. There's lots of vendors, master gardeners there to answer questions, and so you haven't missed out totally if you missed the Seattle Garden Show.
Okay. Also, talk about your berry series.
Oh, we are so excited about this. My head's almost busting. I have so much information to share. Audrey and I and a whole team of people are coming together to offer the Homegrown Berry Series. We're going to talk about growing, selecting, planting, growing, harvesting, and caring for strawberries, raspberries, blackberries, and blueberries. It'll be on the last Saturday of the month from February through October. You have to register, though, to attend because we want everybody to have a good quality experience and to be able to hear and see and that sort of thing. So we encourage folks to go to the Master Gardener website, WSU website, and go to the calendar, and then you can get onto our registration list. I have to say, though, our first offering this coming Saturday is already filled.
Okay. But the one in March is still available.
It's still available, and we'll be talking about blueberries in March.
Yeah, and in your home garden goes right back to what you were just talking about a minute ago, right? Yeah, so that's a perfect thing. Okay, I was just looking through your home. You got some great stuff lined up here on the schedule. People ought to get in and register for them all.
Yeah.
Well, and these two are berry experts. People need to realize that they're local and they know it all about what goes on appropriately for growing berries here in the North
It's really exciting. So. Audrina and I have been doing this for a lot of years, and every year we have aha moments. Oh, that's why you're supposed to do that. And we really want to share with local gardeners how you need to think about it. How do you approach growing all these berries so that they can be successful?
Yeah, and looking at the content of this whole program that goes from February through October, it is massive. I mean, as you just said, Todd, sign up for each one. You're going to learn so much about all the berries, what to do from the beginning of planting it through its whole lifetime. It's an exciting opportunity.
All right, and one other note before we run out of time, on March 12th, before we next talk, this one will be happening. I know, Audrey, you want to talk about the 12th one?
Yeah. This is a part of the Green Thumb Education Series, and the topic is Biology and Backyard Care of Blue Orchard Mason Bees. It will be at the Vern Burton Center. There are a couple of large meeting rooms to the immediate right as you enter the main doors. So I do want to mention that it starts at 1 and will end at 2:15.
2:15.
Important note, though, because these bees are necessary for keeping things pollinated, and you can actually help them along.
You can help them along. You can encourage their growth, and especially if you have fruit trees.
Yeah.
They're a necessary thing that will actually help you have more fruit. So if you want to have...
And you don't have to be a beekeeper to do this.
You do
that's
not
the,
need
That's
to be
the
a
beauty of this, right?
No.
It's a couple of little bee, I don't want to, bee houses, I guess they call them. That will be
yes,
helpful,
our presenter, Shelley Deich, will be showing you or the audience or whoever attends how they can have one in their own home garden. Right. So I think that if you have fruit trees, especially if you have fruit trees, you'll want to attend.
All right. Spring's just around the corner, guys. You made me feel a little springier just talking to you. Judy, good to see you again. Thanks, Judy English. Audreen Williams, good to see you, Audreen. Thanks for stopping by. Jeanette Steer-Green, as always, thanks for stopping in.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to take a break and be back with more right after this.
This is the Todd Ortloff Show on News Radio KONP.
Hi, this is John Holm, president of Tri-State Roofing, your local and family-owned company. If you're interested in a metal roof, prices are going up across the country, but we receive volume discounts through the manufacturer, and we pass that savings on to you. Act now and call 360-208-2222. Financing is available.
Tri-State Roofing, we got you covered.
It's time for your monthly Market Minute with critical insights from local real estate pro May Graves.
Hi, May Graves here, realtor, broker, and orchestrator. What does that mean? Think of it like conducting a symphony, only instead of musicians, I work with painters, cleaners, movers, stagers, landscapers, and contractors. Selling a home involves more than just listing it online. It's about preparing it thoughtfully, coordinating each detail, and keeping the process on track so nothing falls out of tune. My passion is to make sure every part of your experience, from preparing your home to close of sale, comes together smoothly and in harmony. If you're curious about the process, call me, May Graves, Real Estate Market Pros. Hyper-local, data-driven results. 360-461-1922.
When caring for someone you love, it's important for you to take time to rest. At Dungeness Court Memory Care, our overnight respite care offers peace of mind in a safe, family-style setting. From overnight to several weeks, your loved one receives a dedicated caregiving staff, 24-hour on-site nursing, meals, and calming activities, with all-inclusive rates starting at $325 per night. No long-term commitment, just loving care when you need it most. Call Dungeness Court Memory Care at 360-582-9309 today.
Building a future, sharing a dream, working together, we're on the same team.
Are you tired of paying high interest rates on your consumer loans? Look no further than Straight View Credit Union. We're proud to offer the best consumer loan rates in Clallam County, so you can borrow what you need without breaking the bank. Whether you're looking to purchase a new car, make home improvements, or consolidate debt, we've got you covered. Our friendly and knowledgeable staff will guide you through the loan process and help you find a payment plan that works for your budget. Plus, as a member-owned cooperative, we prioritize your financial well-being over profits. Join us today and experience the Straight View Credit Union difference. Visit us online at svcu.com or in person to apply for your consumer loan today. Insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Lender.
Hey there, Dawn Reiling with Olympic Hot Tub. Don't you hate FOMO, the fear of missing out? Well then, you don't want to miss out on the big savings waiting at our floor model finale. Save thousands on 2025 floor model saltwater hot tubs featuring new smart monitoring. Your tub tests your water for you. Exciting deals in all 8 Puget Sound showrooms. But hurry, they end February 28th. OlympicHotTub.com. Better you, better life.
Olympic Hot Tub.
Finding reliable home services in our area can be a challenge. But when it comes to glass, windows, and doors, trust the experts at Harnagle Glassworks. Our employee-owned glass teams have over 80 years of combined installation experience, and with a 100% 5-star rating on Google, our customers can't be wrong. We handle sales, installation, repairs, and replacements for windows, glass and exterior doors, shower enclosures, railings, and more. Do not fall for out-of-town window companies with questionable sales tactics and insanely high prices. Stick with a team you can trust. We're local, employee-owned, and the choice of homeowners and builders who know quality work matters. And if your project qualifies for energy rebates, we'll handle the paperwork. As the weather improves, wait times increase, so don't wait. Contact us today. Get more info by going to hbsglassworks.com. And as always, we deeply appreciate you for shopping local and employee-owned.
Welcome back to the program. A lot of people locally head down to the west coast of Mexico for some vacation and some time in the sun this time of year. Right now, it's a whole different scene than what it usually is there, where violence has exploded in parts around Puerto Vallarta and Baja California after a drug kingpin was arrested. ABC's Matt Rivers sat down with Brad Milkey on the Start Here podcast to talk more about what's going on.
When law enforcement makes a big arrest or takes down a gang, you expect the streets to get safer because of it. But when the gangs run the streets, when they have the influence that, say, drug cartels have in Mexico, a big raid might feel less like the end of an operation and more like the opening salvo in a war. Well, yesterday, Mexican authorities took down one of the most notorious, most violent, most feared kingpins in the country, and already the response has been anything but peaceful. Let's go to ABC's Matt Rivers, who's covered Latin America for years. Matt, what happened here?
Yeah, so this is a big deal, Brad, no question about it. Mexican Defense Forces, their military, carrying out an operation that ended up killing a drug lord named Nemesio Oseguera. He's better known as El Mencho. He's the leader of the new generation Jalisco cartel, which really is the number one, maybe the number two cartel in all of Mexico. This operation carried out by government forces in the western state of Jalisco, the traditional stronghold of this cartel. And what we know is that they went in and they ended up getting in a firefight with multiple people, ultimately ending up shooting and mortally wounding Oseguera. They put him on a helicopter. They were bringing him back to Mexico City, where ultimately we were told he died in flight. So this was a big operation. This is someone the Mexican government had been looking for a very long time, and his arrest is certainly going to make waves across Mexico and beyond.
Right, and a defense official tells ABC News the Pentagon, the U.S. Pentagon, was involved with this, not troops on the ground, but with intelligence. Now I've heard of cartels like Sinaloa, not as much this guy. How significant was he in his cartel?
Yeah, so the new generation Jalisco cartel is a relatively new cartel. It was started from an offshoot of a branch of the Sinaloa cartel back in the early 2010s, but it really rose to prominence incredibly quickly. And at the same time that the Sinaloa cartel was experiencing some fracture after the arrest of El Chapo Guzman back in 2015, 2016, you saw the Jalisco cartel really explode to prominence, to the point where it rivaled the Sinaloa cartel as the number one cartel in all of Mexico, taking over all sorts of smuggling routes, taking over territory, engaging in all sorts of violent turf battles. And, you go online, you look Jalisco cartel videos, you will see these sleekly produced videos. Guys who look like special forces driving around in heavily armored vehicles that essentially look like tanks. They've got mounted 50 caliber assault rifles. They've got, body armor. They've got all kinds of heavy weaponry that they're showing off, basically to scare the Mexican government. So this is a massive transnational organization that has exploded to prominence with El Mencho at its head. And that's why the United States government had put a $15 million bounty on his head. That is why the Mexican government has been going after him so hard for so long. This is the biggest single narco arrest since El Chapo was arrested roughly a decade ago.
So what's the fallout been like in Jalisco and beyond?
Well, so right in the beginning, you said, typically you get a gang guy off the street and it gets safer. The opposite is true when you're talking about the head of these narco organizations. So what we've seen across the country in Mexico since this happened yesterday is an explosion of violence. Members of this organization, of the Jalisco cartel, which remember has a presence all across Mexico, not just in Jalisco, but in the border, in Tijuana and Reynosa, which is right south of McAllen, Texas. There have even been warnings in Quintana Roo, which is where Cancun is and a big tourist spot. There have been
that's
violent,
all the way on that's the Yucatan
complete other
Peninsula.
side of the country, and yet you've had sporadic violence popping up across the country. Members of this cartel coming out, throwing up roadblocks, engaging in firefights with security forces as a way to send a message to the authorities, hey, you might have gotten our leader, but we're not going to go down quietly.
This is Puerto Vallarta.
What we've seen, interestingly, this time, Brad, is Americans get caught up in this.
I don't think those are gunshots. I think that's like fuel tanks exploding, I think.
Specifically in Puerto Vallarta, which is a very, very, famous tourist spot on the western coast of Mexico, all kinds of hotels, famous chains. That airport actually had to shut down yesterday for fear of violence, which means hundreds, if not thousands of Americans who were going to take flights home to Canada or to the United States ended up getting trapped because of cartel violence.
Wait, so then obviously if you're part of the Mexican government or if you're part of the American DEA, FBI, I'm sure you're like, this is a great takedown. This is a good day. And yet I wonder if there's more like, not a nihilist here, but I wonder if there's a question of like, at what cost? Like, why do this? If this is actually going to increase violence on the streets, are the Mexican authorities prepared to like carry through with a war?
It's a very, very good question, because here's what we know. We know two things can be possible. On the one hand, El Mencho was not a good guy. He is a criminal you want off the streets. He is responsible for the deaths of thousands of people, both across Mexico and the United States, based on drug trafficking and related violence. You don't want him on the street, right? But if you take him off the street, this is a very powerful guy. He leaves a power vacuum in his wake, which means that the violence that will play out from people trying to replace him will increase across Mexico. So you see this every time one of these big kingpins get brought down. And El Mencho was a kingpin. You see a fracturing of the organization that exists beneath him. And when there is fracturing, there is violence. So we will see repercussions of this moving forward, because without some sort of organizational leadership, you basically just have a loosely affiliated groups of criminals that will go after one another, and the Mexican populace, and ultimately some Americans, will pay the price.
Right, and that's the thing. I mean, you got not just American tourists being told to shelter in place right now. You're talking consulate officials, like government workers being told, hey, lay low, because we cannot guarantee you can get from your house to the airport safely.
Countrywide effect, no question about it.
Wow. All right, Matt Rivers, thank you so much.
Thanks, Brad.
This is the Todd Ortloff Show on News Radio KONP.
Todd Ortloff now with a word for Olympic Peninsula title. They don't just have customers, they have raving fans. Yeah, for over 40 years, they've been earning the repeat business of their customers by treating them with respect, delivering what they promise, prioritizing the security of customers' funds and information, and always providing service with a smile. When it's time to choose a title company to close your transaction, opt for Olympic Peninsula Title and see for yourself why they've earned over 500 five-star reviews, and they've been voted best title company in Clallam County over and over again.
Bathfitter is celebrating over 42,000 installations in Western Washington. That's 42,000 bathrooms made safer, cleaner, and more stylish. And for a limited time, we're doubling our tax season offer, giving up to $1,000 off your dream bath. Custom fit tub and shower solutions are installed in as little as 1 day, with complete removal of your old setup. Every installation backed by a lifetime warranty. Visit bathfitternw.com to schedule a free consultation. Hurry, this offer won't last.
At Harper Ridgeview Funeral Chapel and Squim Valley Funeral Chapel, Mark Gustafson is precisely the professional you want helping your family during a time of loss.
Every morning when I get out of bed, I have one more opportunity to help a family in need that is grieving, that may be in a cloud, may not know what to do, where to go, who to talk to. And I'm here to help them through that and to be here every day for them.
Saying goodbye to a loved one is never easy. Friendship and experience can be a real comfort.
When a loved one loses someone, it's a journey that they're going through. It's new territory, so to speak, and I'm able to be there to help them. And again, being hometown, I'm there with them all the way through it from start to finish.
Caring professionals when you need them most. Harper Ridgeview Funeral Chapel, 452-9701, and Squim Valley Funeral Chapel, 683-5242.
Are you thinking about a new roof, siding, or windows for your home? Give Tri-State a call. Tri-State installs GAF roofing products, James Hardy siding, and Pella replacement windows. And right now, Tri-State is offering huge savings. The first step is a free estimate. Call 360-208-2222 or visit tristate.pro.
Tri-State Roofing, we got you covered.
A lot of talk about tariffs, and of course a big ruling late last week from the Supreme Court ruling that tariffs were illegal as they first were presented, at least some of them were. ABC's Elizabeth Schulze breaks it down.
The U.S. Supreme Court has not exactly gone out of its way to rein in President Trump during his second term. If anything, the conservative-dominated court is often more likely to say the U.S. president has pretty broad executive authority, which is why perhaps last year, when President Trump upended international economics by announcing huge tariffs on products entering the U.S. from a long list of countries, American business leaders said, oh no.
In a few moments, I will sign a historic executive order instituting reciprocal tariffs on countries throughout the world.
These were taxes that would ostensibly be paid by importers, but inevitably, the difference would be made by raising prices. Many filed lawsuits saying the president didn't have the authority to do this, but what could they really do? Refuse to pay? Hope the Supreme Court came to their rescue? Well, on Friday, in a monumental decision, the U.S. Supreme Court issued an extraordinary ruling against President Trump.
The Constitution, our framers, 238 years of American history, all say only Congress has the power to impose tariffs on the American people.
See, under the Constitution, Congress regulates taxes, not the White House. President Trump, though, said he had special powers under a law known as IEEPA. Sounds like a sound a Looney Tunes character would make, but it's actually the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, IEEPA. This law had been invoked by presidents before to issue sanctions on rogue countries on national security grounds. President Trump said our economic situation qualified as an emergency, so his tariffs qualified.
As I understand it, that the IEEPA was designed and intended to limit presidential authority.
The Supreme Court disagreed. In fact, Chief Justice John Roberts pointed out that nowhere in this law are tariffs even mentioned. Now, remember, though, these tariffs have now been in effect for months. Just about every American has basically helped pay for them in the form of higher prices. So what happens now? Let's start the week with ABC's Elizabeth Schulze, who covers economics. Elizabeth, let me just get your take on this first. How unexpected was this decision on Friday?
It wasn't entirely unexpected, Brad, after we heard the arguments over the fall from the Supreme Court. It was clear that many of the justices had been leaning in this direction that would basically strike down this authority that the president had to impose these IEEPA tariffs. But no doubt about it, this was a major setback for President Trump's agenda. It pretty much blunted the sharpest tool that he has had in his presidency for economic policy, for foreign policy, his biggest negotiating tactic. And this was a 6-3 decision.
I can destroy the trade. I can destroy the country. I'm even allowed to impose a foreign country-destroying embargo. I can embargo. I can do anything I want, but I can't charge $1.
Almost immediately after the decision came down, the president went on the attack.
The Supreme Court's ruling on tariffs is deeply disappointing, and I'm ashamed of certain members of the court, absolutely ashamed.
And in very fierce words, he personally attacked the 6 justices who were in favor of this decision while praising the 3 who dissented.
Right, he said their families should be ashamed of them. He basically accused them of bowing to foreign influences. Remember, some of these are justices he named to the court. What is the immediate effect of the actual tariffs, though, Elizabeth? They don't just, do they go away immediately?
Basically, what this means is that 70% of the tariffs that the president had imposed so far were invalid and unconstitutional.
Wow.
We are talking about $142 billion in tariff money that had already been collected by the U.S. government, paid by U.S. importers. 300,000 importers, basically businesses, paid those tariffs when the products they brought in from overseas crossed the U.S. border. Already, thousands, more than 2,000, had sued to try to get refunds if this was the way that the Supreme Court went. So almost immediately, one of the first questions in the wake of this decision was, what happens to all of that tariff money, and is it going to get refunded to businesses?
Oh, wow. And like a wine importer was the lead plaintiff on this case. So everyone's like, I had to pay these penalties. Do I get them back now, please?
And that was something that the plaintiffs had said, is this was a tax on them. That was what the Supreme Court, in the opinion by Chief Justice John Roberts, agreed that this was a tax on those U.S. businesses bringing in products.
It's a congressional power, not a presidential power, to tax. And you want to say tariffs are not taxes, but that's exactly what they are.
The expectation was from a lot of businesses that if this is the way that this went down, they could start to see refunds pretty quickly, just in the same way that they had to pay those tariffs pretty quickly once President Trump imposed them. Turns out, Brad, it's going to be pretty complicated. There was only a very brief mention of the refunds in this opinion. In fact, it was by Justice Kavanaugh who dissented and basically repeated some what we'd heard during the argument, saying that it could be messy.
The refund process took a long time. There were any number of claims and equitable relief.
So a mess.
So it's difficult,
Okay.
Absolutely.
It wouldn't be normal necessarily for the Supreme Court to lay out in exact detail the technical process for how these refunds would happen. But basically, because there was no guidance on that, what this is now going to come down to are lower courts.
The Court of International Trade, which is a district-level U.S. court, my expectation is that they'll have to step in and give some direction on how they want that to be done, if at all.
We heard over the weekend the top trade official in the Trump administration say on This Week that they're going to be waiting for a ruling on the Court of International Trade to figure out how those refunds can even start to go out.
But as far as the era of tariffs, like you said, like these are not ancillary to President Trump's agenda. Like he sees these as a key part of his economic agenda. He regularly threatens foreign countries with more tariffs if they don't do what he wants. So if those were just ruled unconstitutional, what does he do going forward? Because he says he has other plans to keep the tariffs going.
And to be very clear, Brad, that's exactly right. President Trump is in no way backing down from tariffs.
Their decision's incorrect, but it doesn't matter because we have very powerful alternatives that have been approved by this decision.
In that press conference, just hours after the Supreme Court's decision, he announced the White House's Plan B. It's clear that they were ready for this. And he said that he would, starting almost immediately, as of Tuesday effective, impose a 10% global tariff on all imports coming into the U.S. He would do this under a new authority that's called Section 122. Now, there are actually already some questions being raised about that, including for the lawyer who argued in front of the Supreme Court for the plaintiff, saying, actually, this isn't legal either. But for now, the White House is doubling down. In fact, over the weekend, President Trump said he would increase that 10% tariff to 15%. So already escalating that threat. There are some very key differences here in these tariffs imposed under this new legal authority, Section 122, than IEEPA. And the key difference is that there is a limit. It can only go up to 15%. So President Trump's already at the maximum there. Remember, we've heard him threaten like 100%, 150%. That's no longer on the table with this. Also, after 150 days of that being in effect, that 15% tariff needs to be approved by Congress.
That's something that the president can use for now, and he has, in order to work out what he's going to do next, in order to kind of get going on those other tariff actions he needs. But that's not a long-term solution.
There is in no way certainty that this is something that Congress would approve. In fact, a lot of members of Congress very skeptical of tariffs in the first place.
But at the end of the day, then, what does that mean for the stuff we are paying for right now? Where are Americans going to continue to see sort of the pain that comes with these tariffs? And I guess, will some of these stay in place because some countries were so scared of big tariffs that they agreed to trade agreements with the U.S.? Does all that sort of stick in place then in the time being?
I think this is where it's helpful to put almost a dollar amount on this because you throw out a lot of numbers, and at the end of the day, we are still at a higher tariff rate effectively right now than at any other time in more than 80 years. Even with the Supreme Court striking down the most wide-ranging option of President Trump's tariffs, the ones that are already in place, plus this new tariff that he's imposing effective Tuesday, mean that we are still, as households and businesses in the U.S., facing very high tariff rates. The Yale Budget Lab says that the cost of the tariffs total now will be about $1,300 for the average American household per year. Before the Supreme Court struck down the president's tariffs, that cost was about $1,600. So yes, it is a little bit less, but it is still a notable cost. So bottom line here, the president's negotiating power with these tariffs has diminished, but it is not gone entirely.
Right. And again, we keep talking about how these costs get passed to consumers. We've rarely seen companies sort of get a reprieve from this and then be like, great, we're lowering prices once again. You can imagine a lot of prices will stay exactly where they are, if not continue to rise in the meantime. Elizabeth Schulze, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Brad.
This is the Todd Ortloff Show on News Radio KONP.
Money these days, it's out of control how fast it disappears. Groceries, taxes, subscriptions, on and on. It's like your wallet's got a hole in it. And just when you think you're ahead, something else comes along to empty it out. But you know what else is out of control? The deals at your favorite employee-owned stores. Angelus Millwork, Hartnagel's, and Angelus Rentals. We've got so many ways to save, it's ridiculous. Major sales on paint, decking, power tools, and more. Check. New specials on 20-plus products every month. You bet. Online-only discounts? Oh yeah! Window and cabinet deals with installation? What? Don't forget about the Tool of the Month and Husqvarna deals at Angelus Rentals. Never! And that's not enough. Your mailman has coupons. Watch for those in your Valpak mailer. Seriously, it's a little nuts how many ways we're helping you save throughout the year, but it's all about keeping your wallet happy and your money local. Visit lumbertraders.com for more info, and as always, we deeply appreciate you for shopping local and employee-owned.
Do you find sometimes there's more month left than money? Hi, this is Clallam PUD introducing our new prepaid meter program called SmartPay. With SmartPay, you take charge. It works just like a prepaid phone or coffee card, Pay what you can, when you can, 24/7 using your computer or smartphone. No deposits, no late fees, no billing statements. You'll get notifications when your balance is running low so you can add more funds. To find out more, visit www.clallampud.net. Clallam County PUD, bringing energy to life.
Your voice, your news. News Radio KONP, Port Angeles Squim. AM 1450, FM 101.7 and 101.3. A Radio Pacific station.
From ABC News, I'm Lindsay Davis, anchor of ABC News Live Prime, streaming weeknights on ABC News Live. More than 590,000 customers are still without power following a major winter storm in the Northeast. ABC's Matt Rivers is in Boston.
There is a state of emergency declared across the entire state of Massachusetts, which some areas expected to get more than 24, maybe even 30 inches of snow. That, combined with wind gusts up to 70 miles an hour, really making this entire situation across the state untenable at this point. Power outages also remain a big concern. Customers across the state now without power.
Massachusetts is reporting nearly 300,000 power outages as of this afternoon. The storm impacting communities up and down the I-95 corridor, with Philadelphia seeing 14 inches of snow, the most snow that city's seen in a decade. Meanwhile, in New York City, Central Park reporting just under 20 inches of snow. Mayor Zoran Mamdani says the city is through the worst of it, but the roads remain treacherous.
I continue to encourage all non-emergency traffic, cars, trucks, scooters, and e-bikes, to remain off the roads.
Shelter-in-place orders are still in effect for Americans in certain areas of Mexico after one of Mexico's drug kingpins known as El Mencho was killed. The Mexican military attempted to take him into custody yesterday. He died in the process. More now from ABC's Whit Johnson near the Mexican border.
Security forces now patrolling the country from the air and on the streets. Plumes of billowing black smoke as gunshots ring out in the distance. The violence reaching into popular tourist hotspots like Puerto Vallarta.
The operation also led to the deaths of more than 24 members of the Mexican National Guard. In a Los Angeles courtroom today, Nick Reiner entered a not guilty plea on charges that he stabbed his parents to death in December. And the major indices on Wall Street closing sharply down today in the first trading session after the White House said it would impose a 15% tariff on countries around the world. You're listening to ABC News.
You've probably heard all those ads for life insurance. Just a few dollars a day, apply online in minutes, no medical exam. Simple, easy, and cheap, right? Now you're thinking, maybe I should get a quote. Well, smart thinking. Everyone should have life insurance. But here's what they don't tell you. Those few dollars a day rates, they're for young people in perfect health. That's why everyone calls Big Lou the 50 to 60-year-old not-so-perfect candidate. Like you. You take prescription meds and you're overweight. Winner, winner, fried chicken dinner. Well, Big Lou works with life insurance companies that want people like you with no surprises after you apply. In fact, if you're a 50-year-old guy with a few health glitches, Lou could probably find you $1 million of term life coverage for about $200 a month. So, yeah, you need life insurance. But unless you're young and healthy, you gotta call Big Lou because he's like you, older, heavier, and on meds, too. Get a quote right now at 800-230-2777, 800-230-2777, or biglou.com.
Lindsay Davis for the latest on today's headlines. Be sure to watch Prime tonight starting at 7 Eastern on ABC News Live. Now, more news.
Tomorrow night, President Trump gives the State of the Union address to Congress. In new polling from ABC News, The Washington Post, and Ipsos, finds majorities of Americans disapprove of how the president is handling major issues.
President Trump's approval rating in the latest ABC News Washington Post Ipsos poll is just 39%. His overall disapproval rating, 60%, is the highest of his second term and matches his disapproval rating as he left office at the end of his